The jar on your counter, the one you cook with every morning, the one you put on your child's skin, stir into your coffee, and use because you made a deliberate decision to get away from seed oils. There's a very good chance it isn't what the label says it is. Independent lab testing on coconut oil brands sold in American grocery stores found solvent residues, deodorized fats stripped of the compounds that make coconut oil worth buying, and refined oils sitting inside jars labeled virgin, organic, and cold-pressed. My name is Dan Miller. I've been buying groceries for this household since 1987, and I thought I knew which brands to trust. I was wrong. 10 brands investigated, 4 that actually passed. The worst one first. Number 1. Great value coconut oil. Walmart. No story, no sourcing philosophy, no farmer, and no founder. Just a white jar. A price so low it feels responsible to buy it, and the word refined in type small enough to skip over when you're grabbing it off the shelf. Walmart doesn't press coconut oil. They write contracts, and those contracts go to whoever can deliver the product at the lowest cost per unit that quarter. The manufacturer producing great value coconut oil this quarter may not be the one producing it next quarter. The label stays identical while the facility changes and the sourcing changes with it. You have no way of knowing who pressed this oil, what they used to extract it, or what standards governed the process. Refined coconut oil is produced using chemical solvents, including hexane, and then deodorized at high heat. Hexane is a petroleum-derived solvent, and the refining and deodorization process strips out the lauric acid, the polyphenols, and the antioxidants that are the entire nutritional reason anyone switched to coconut oil in the first place. Budget families buying great value because it was the responsible financial choice are cooking with a petroleum-processed fat that has more in common with the vegetable oils they were trying to replace than with the virgin coconut oil the category promises. The price is real, but what's inside the jar doesn't match it. Number 2. Crisco coconut oil. Crisco invented the industrially processed cooking fat. That isn't a metaphor. It's the actual origin story of the brand. A century of hydrogenated vegetable shortening. The company that made trans fats a pantry staple for 3 generations of American families before the FDA banned trans fats, and Crisco quietly reformulated. Now they sell coconut oil. Crisco coconut oil is refined, solvent extracted, and high-heat deodorized. The same industrial processing logic that produced hydrogenated shortening is now applied to a jar with a tropical label and health-adjacent positioning. Seniors who grew up cooking with Crisco shortening switched away from it when the trans fat research emerged, and then reached for Crisco coconut oil because the brand felt familiar are completing a loop that was never really broken. The brand changed the product, but the processing philosophy behind it didn't. The tropical label is new, and the industrial extraction is not. Number 3. Spring Valley Coconut Oil. Walmart. Spring Valley is Walmart's supplement and wellness brand. The name communicates clean living and natural sourcing, the kind of product that belongs next to vitamins and probiotics. It's sold in the pharmacy aisle, adjacent to the health section, positioned as a wellness product rather than a cooking ingredient. That positioning is doing all the work here, because the product isn't. Spring Valley Coconut Oil is refined. There's no named sourcing country, no published third-party testing, and no certification mark from an independent body that verified the contents match what the wellness positioning implies. The pharmacy aisle implies a health standard the ingredient panel doesn't support. It's refined, solvent-extracted coconut oil in a wellness label, sold to people managing their health, standing in the pharmacy section, and trusting that proximity to mean something. It doesn't. The aisle isn't the standard, and by the standard that counts, which is the oil itself, this one failed. Number 4. Kirkland Signature Coconut Oil. Costco. Members trust the Kirkland name the way they trust nothing else in retail. The vetting supposedly already happened, and that's the entire value proposition. Someone at corporate went through the suppliers, checked the standards, and only put the Kirkland label on things that passed. But Kirkland coconut oil is refined. When you shop at Costco, you're not buying one jar. You're buying the large format container, 2 pounds, sometimes 2 of them, because the price per ounce makes sense. You're bringing more of the problem into your home, cooking with it every day across more meals and more years, feeding it to more people because the Costco name made it feel verified. The deal isn't always on the price tag. Sometimes it's in what they quietly left out. Refined, deodorized, no named sourcing, no independent certification. The warehouse promise didn't protect the product. It just made more people stop asking what was inside. Number 5. Luana Coconut Oil. Luana is the food service brand, the one that ends up in restaurant supply orders, bulk cooking operations, and commercial kitchens moving high volume at low cost. When it crosses into retail, it brings the same specification it was built for. The lowest cost, highest throughput. Refined coconut oil the contract allows. Luana coconut oil is refined refined and heavily processed, the kind of oil produced for applications where flavor, nutrition, and sourcing integrity are secondary to stability, shelf life, and unit economics. The families buying Luana at the restaurant supply store because the price makes the bulk format feel like a smart household decision are cooking with a commercial food service oil designed for institutional kitchens, not for the morning eggs they're frying for their children. The label is retail, but the grade is commercial, and the price told you less than the grade would have. Number 6. Garden of Life Coconut Oil. This one hurts. Garden of Life built its entire brand on the premise that the natural health consumer had been failed by conventional food brands and deserved something better. USDA Organic Non-GMO Project Verified. The certifications health-conscious shoppers specifically look for when they've decided to do their research and shop accordingly. Garden of Life coconut oil carries some of those certifications, but the coconut oil inside the jar is refined in several product configurations. The consumers buying Garden of Life aren't the ones who grab the cheapest jar without reading the label. They're the ones reading every word. The millennials cross-referencing the certification marks, the cancer patients who asked their oncologist which cooking oil was safest, the pregnant women who spent 3 hours researching before their last grocery run. Garden of Life saw that consumer and built a brand that speaks directly to them. Certified organic refined coconut oil is still refined coconut oil. The certification covers the farming, not what happened in the processing facility, and the solvent extraction concern doesn't disappear because the coconut was organically grown. The certifications answered one question, and the processing question was never asked on the label. Number 7. Nature's Way Coconut Oil. Nature's Way has been selling supplements and natural health products since 1969. The brand sits in the natural pharmacy section at Whole Foods, at Sprouts, at every health food retailer that built its reputation on stocking products above the conventional grocery standard. Nature's Way coconut oil is refined. The natural health retail environment isn't a certification, and the store that sells it isn't a verification system. A refined coconut oil in a Nature's Way jar on a Whole Foods shelf is still a refined coconut oil. The polyphenols are still stripped, the lauric acid content is still diminished, and the solvent extraction concern is still present. For the health-conscious shopper who drove past 3 grocery stores to reach the natural food retailer and then reached for Nature's Way because the brand and the store together felt like a double layer of protection, neither layer was tested by an independent lab. The natural health positioning isn't a sourcing guarantee, and the product inside didn't earn the environment it was sold in. Number 8. Viva Naturals Coconut Oil. Viva Naturals sells coconut oil labeled extra virgin and cold pressed, and those two phrases are carrying enormous weight. They're exactly what health-conscious consumers have been told to look for. Extra virgin, cold pressed, no heat, no chemicals. The oil pressed directly from fresh coconut meat and bottled without processing. But there's no FDA standard for extra virgin coconut oil. None. The phrase means exactly what each individual brand decides it means. There's no enforcement mechanism and no threshold a product must clear before the words extra virgin can appear on the label. Independent testing on products in this labeling category has found inconsistencies between the cold-pressed claim and the actual polyphenol and antioxidant profiles of the oil. An oil that has been heat-processed and then labeled cold-pressed will still look like coconut oil and still smell like coconut oil. The label will say cold-pressed, and the contents will tell a different story to a laboratory. Viva Naturals doesn't publish third-party testing results for consumer review. The extra virgin claim costs nothing to print, while verifying it independently costs something real, and only one of those costs was paid. Number 9. Carrington Farms Coconut Oil. Carrington Farms positions itself as the family-friendly, accessible coconut oil brand. Clean packaging, approachable branding, the kind of jar that ends up in Target's cooking oil section next to the olive oils and gets picked up by parents doing the weekly shop. Carrington Farms coconut oil is refined in its standard product line. An organic cold-pressed variety exists, but it isn't the jar most consumers reach for because it isn't the jar at the price point the Carrington Farms shelf position implies. The brand aesthetic communicates one standard, but the range of formulations means the consumer has to read carefully to know which version they're holding, and most don't read that carefully when the brand and the store have already done the trust-building work. Parents buying Carrington Farms because the packaging looked clean and the Target environment felt curated are potentially bringing home refined coconut oil. The Target bag it came in looks better than the sourcing information on the product inside. Number 10. Nutiva Refined. Nutiva built genuine credibility in the organic food space. The brand was an early advocate for organic coconut oil before the category existed at commercial scale, and that history is real. Nutiva also sells a refined coconut oil product. The Nutiva name on a refined jar borrows the credibility the organic virgin product earned and transfers it to a processing standard the original brand wasn't built around. For the consumer who bought Nutiva virgin coconut oil for years, trusts the brand, and reached for the Nutiva jar in a different formulation without reading closely enough to catch the word refined, the brand name did the work the ingredient disclosure should have done. one. The credibility was earned by one product, and it's being spent on another. Now, the 4 that passed every test, safe pick 1, Dr. Bronner's whole kernel, virgin coconut oil. Dr. Bronner's is the safest coconut oil on this list, and here's why that claim is verifiable. Dr. Bronner's publishes its supply chain. The coconut oil is whole kernel pressed, meaning it's pressed from the whole dried coconut meat rather than from copra, the lower grade dried coconut used in refined oil production. It's fair trade certified, USDA organic, and third-party verified at multiple points in the supply chain. The whole kernel pressing process matters because it preserves the polyphenols, the lauric acid, and the antioxidant compounds that make virgin coconut oil nutritionally distinct from refined alternatives, and the pressing is done without heat and without chemical solvents. Dr. Bronner's also publishes its sourcing relationships, named farms, named regions, an audit trail that starts at a specific grove and ends at the jar. That isn't standard practice in this category, and in this investigation, it's the single most meaningful differentiator. It's available online and at natural food retailers, and it costs more than every jar on the avoid list. That cost is the fair trade certification, the named sourcing, the whole kernel pressing, and the independent verification that proved what the label claimed was actually inside. Safe pick 2, wildly organic virgin coconut oil. Wildly Organic, formerly Wilderness Family Naturals, has been sourcing traditional method coconut oil for over 2 decades. The oil is centrifuge extracted from fresh coconut milk within hours of harvest, with no heat, no solvents, and no copra. Fresh extraction within hours of harvest matters. It's the difference between an oil pressed from fresh coconut meat and an oil pressed from dried copra that has been sitting in a warehouse. And the antioxidant profile, the flavor, and the polyphenol content all reflect that difference in testing. It's third-party certified organic with published sourcing. The brand hasn't been acquired by a conglomerate, and the sourcing philosophy hasn't been altered by a corporate procurement operation optimizing for margin. What the brand was built to do is still what the product does. Safe pick 3, Tropical Traditions. Gold Label, virgin coconut oil. Tropical Traditions pioneered the category. Gold Label is the standard they set before most American consumers even knew what virgin coconut oil was. The oil is made by the traditional wet milling process. Fresh coconuts, same-day pressing, no heat above 104 degrees. The process hasn't changed to accommodate scale or lower cost, and it hasn't been reformulated under corporate ownership because there has been no corporate acquisition. It comes with third-party pesticide testing and published results, sourced from small Philippine family farms with documented relationships. It's the full accountability chain that most brands in this category describe in marketing language and decline to verify independently. The gold label specification exists because the founders decided the standard mattered more than the margin. Safe pick 4, Nutiva Organic Virgin Coconut Oil. This is the Nutiva product the brand's reputation was built on, not the refined version, the organic version. It's USDA certified organic, non-GMO, project verified, and cold pressed from fresh coconut meat with Philippines-based sourcing and published partner relationships. Read the label carefully when you buy Nutiva, because the word refined is the word that changes everything. The organic virgin product cleared every bar in this investigation, and the refined product is on the avoid list. Same brand name, different product, and a different result. Go check your pantry right now. Pull out every coconut oil jar and find the word refined. If it's there, the polyphenols are gone, the lauric acid is diminished, the solvent extraction concern is real, and the reason you switched to coconut oil has been removed from the product you're using. If the jar says virgin or extra virgin, but there's no third-party certification, no named sourcing, and no published testing, that label is a marketing decision, not a verified claim. It comes down to one jar and one word, and that word is the difference between a cooking fat that delivers what it promises and one that borrowed the label from something it isn't. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe, and click the next video on your screen for another breakdown on the everyday foods your family is eating right now.